Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Armoury. Welcome to Full-Time Sports Network. I'm going to stop shooting Luke because I realised the guns are always down at the bottom. They're always shooting you. How are we doing? We'll start with the wonderful Luke. How are we doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, Bobby. It's a little bit wet where I am, but the storm hasn't hit yet, so
yeah,
not too
it's
bad.
One of those days, isn't it? It's one of those days. Let's hope that no one gets hurt. And also, I want to say big up to Brenny. I hope you feel better soon.
Okay.
So I hope he feels better soon. Tony, how are we doing, mate?
Well, could be better, couldn't it? But yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Storm's here, but it's not where I am. It's not as bad as they made it out it was going to be. But hey, it's still early, so we'll see. Can't be any worse than the storm we went through last night.
Well, yes, we're going to get into that. My Wi-Fi is playing up because I'm being hit by horrible weather up here as well. But look, it is what it is. Big up to Tony Fulbrook already in the house. Morning, Bobby, Brenny, and Luke. He joined me with the watch long last night. We suffered together throughout the chat. It was horrendous. It was a horrible game. Horrible. And just in time, Mr. Gumsa, the actual match reaction man. How are we doing, Gumsa?
I'm all right. How are you keeping?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Overall, how are we all feeling? Before we get into the actual game itself, how are we feeling about what happened last night? Gumsa, you've just joined us, so we'll start with you, mate.
I remember at the start of the season, I predicted that what we done in the window was good business, but it wasn't enough to take us over the line and win the league and stuff. And I get the optimism. I think Rice was a massive signing. Timber's obviously potential. Havertz, who knows, and Raya. So from what I saw last season, I see some of the same issues. Once we take 2 or 3 key members out of the squad, it looks terrible. I remember Europa League last year. Anytime we rotated 4 or 5 players, we looked a complete different team. And it's not that the individuals are bad, it's just that collective doesn't work. So, yeah, I'm not really too shocked about it. I'm glad we rotated. And again, it just kind of highlights where we are at in terms of our squad. It's not as good as I think people make out sometimes, personally. They're good players, but I think once we take 3 or 4 that main core out, it's not good reading, is it really? And honestly,
no, it's not. What about you, Tone?
Yeah, I mean, look, I can agree with what Gumsa was saying there. There's still issues. I actually feel sorry for Kivia, to be honest, because he gets placed here, there, and everywhere along that back line, and he found himself in a different position where he was during the Sheffield United game. So he didn't know where he's going, if he's coming or going. I do feel for him in that respect. But yeah, it just shows that the depth is still a bit of an issue. But I'm sure we'll dive into that as we go through the starting 11.
We will. What about you, Luke?
Yeah, I've been expecting a 3-1 type of result because I don't think we've played that well all season. So I was kind of resigned to our fate last night, the way we started the game. And it appears that we've still got that same mentality that we've got from last year in the Cups, where we don't seem that arsed. I'm not sure if it would have made a difference if we played a stronger team. If the collective have got that same mentality, the same result's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm because the way that I saw our players perform last night, I was begging that we just changed it and put the youth in, because I guarantee those youth would have gone on that pitch and actually been up for it. And this is why I've always backed them up, because they deserve the chance. Yes, we might have lost 6-0, but we lost 3-1. So would it have really mattered? Not really. West Ham obviously wanted it more. They were very much up for it last night. Big up to West Ham. I'm not taking anything away from West Ham's performance. They were very good. Kudu was brilliant. I know Tony doesn't rate him, but he showed his talent last night. He was very good. Morning to Brenny. Hope you're doing well. No, my pleasure, mate. Tony, you've put your ratings in. I'll come back to that shortly, mate. Lucky we didn't win, as Liverpool in next round would have beat us even more. it's one of those coulda, woulda, maybe in it. We don't know because the draw would have been different if we'd gone through because different ball number and stuff. So yeah, it would have been slightly different. Right, let's get actually into the game itself. So obviously 3-1 to West Ham. Right, we're going to start with the first goal. Oh Jesus, I still don't quite get it. I spoke to someone that deals with refereeing decisions and VAR. That would have been ruled out. No problem with VAR. However, I've still got a big issue with the fact that all our defenders was attacking our own goal where their attackers were not. It's like we wanted to score on ourselves because no matter who it hit, I guarantee it would have gone in. It just happened to be Ben White. I don't know if you've seen it back, but literally just Sotek was actually in the box. It was a threat, and he was tugging on Ramsdale. So, like, what the heck was that about? Gumsa, that goal. I've heard a lot of people blaming Ramsdale. There is no Ramsdale blame for me now. There was a little bit last night at first reaction, but now I've seen it back. There's literally no blame on him at all. But what did you think of that first goal that we conceded?
Yeah, I think like everyone, you straight away think, where's Ramsdale? Because it's at the front post. However, I watched all our set pieces after that. And it's similar to Raya. So Ramsdale was positioned at the back post. And again, if you do coaching, you hear a lot of keepers say it's easier to run forward than run backwards. So a lot of keepers do position themselves a bit further back. So they can get forward to the ball, but if it's above them, they're in a good position to get hold of it as well. And if you look at our defenders, we did have about 4 of them positioned around the front post. So it's obviously a tactic. You lot defend the front and Ramsdale look after the back for the deep ones. So after watching that and watching a few more set pieces, I will not blame Ramsdale for that. Like, the guy has got a hold of his shirt. He's trying to make up the ground. Do you know what I mean? You just expect someone to just get a bit more on the header and deal with it a bit better. I'm not sure if it's raining at that stage or what, but it is a wicked ball in. It's just one of them things, and it can happen. So Raya's positioning last week got called into question against Chelsea, and I think his positioning was fine because, again, 9 times out of 10 that cross comes and he deals with the cross, where it was a fluke by Modric last week. So I just hope the same energy for Raya next time he gets caught out positionally, because keepers have to preempt sometimes some things, and you see them get caught sometimes when people reverse shots and stuff, because 9 out of 10 shots go the way they're kind of guessing to go, and one might pull it a different way. So you do have to preempt sometimes as a keeper, and we probably won't get caught with that again, Ramsdale. Like, it's just sometimes it happens, don't it? So I'm not too sure what there is to blame. I think maybe the main issue was Zinchenko not talking to Gabriel before the corner. You saw Gabriel go to Zinchenko, let me know, because the guys run off Zinchenko. Gabriel's kind of hesitated, thinking no one's coming, and then he had to react late, and all he could do was head it out for the corner. So maybe that's probably more to blame than the set piece itself, I would say.
What about you, Tone? Because I like different people's opinions of a same goal.
It's funny because I was watching the game at work, and one of the regulars is a West Ham fan. He was there, and he put a little bet on Bowen to score first. And I joked, and I went, "You watch Bowen score from his corner now." And I actually thought Bowen had scored straight from the corner, if I'm honest, when I first saw it. But no, I agree with Gumsa. There's no blame on Ramsdale. You can't blame on Ramsdale. And Ben White just had to get his head to it. You know, the position he was in when the ball come in, it wasn't going to go any other way. So you can't really blame White. You can't blame Ramsdale. It's just one of those goals from set pieces that you concede. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, true. Luke, what about you, mate?
I don't really think Ben White's that good in the air, so I'd maybe question why he was the one in the position to be at that near post. I'd prefer maybe someone like Gabriel. So perhaps from a setup point of view, we got that wrong. Anyway, I thought, at the time, I thought Ramsdale was a bit soft. I thought maybe it's different, when we all started watching football, you had psychos in goal, and they would have run through you. Peter Schmeichel wouldn't have accepted having his shirt pulled. He would have just shoved him out of the way and gone to. But I don't know what they're told. Yeah, in the day, as Gumsa was saying, they are coached to do certain things at a certain time, and we don't know what they get told to do from coaching point of view as fans.
Yeah, true. Very true. Very true. Right, let's move on to the second goal. Kudu with a very good finish. I'm not blaming Ramsdale for anything on this. Zinni, however, not happy with his positioning once again. He had a shocking game for me, personally, but we'll get onto the ratings in a bit. Luke, I'll start with you. The Kudu goal. What did you think of it defensively for us?
Well, it's a long ball that you need to deal with that better. Obviously, you know, Kudos has got the run on Zinchenko. But then you've got Gabriel, who's kind of he didn't really make a decision there either. I think as soon as Kudos pulls that back, I think he has to try and block that rather than just stand there with his legs wide open. I know he's maybe thinking about, is he going to pass it to whoever was like in front of him? But you know, the danger is that Kudos has got the ball and he's in the area. He's on his left and he's on his left foot. So I think between Zinchenko and Gabriel, they messed up there.
Yeah. Tony, what about you? Tony Fulbrook, behave in the comments. I can see you. I can see you. Tony, second goal for you.
Listen, you know, you've heard what I said before about Kudu, so I think he's overhyped in that. But look, when I saw he was starting up against Zinchenko, I was worried. I was very, very worried. And I had a feeling something like that was going to happen. And, you know, he got exploited at the end of the day, Zinchenko. And I feel you just can't allow players like him to get into that kind of position. And we did that. So there's got to be blame taken for that. But again, at the same time, it was a very well taken goal.
It was a well taken goal. I'm not taking anything away from Kudu, but defensively, I think we could have been better. Gumsa, what about you?
Yeah, my issue more is with Gabriel and that goal. If you watch they showed the angle yesterday where the ball went across and Zinchenko runs with a midfielder. So midfielder runs in behind Gabriel and Zinchenko takes that run, which he has to do. That's the most dangerous player at that time because he's closer to the goal. Once it's over his head, Kudos takes... It's a good touch, but a bit lucky he's hit his back foot. Gabriel's the first one who can get out to him and he doesn't do anything. He literally stands. And again, I've praised Gabriel this season and I think he was awful yesterday. He was getting manhandled all over the park, and a lot of times they were breaking and just running off him, and he really struggled. And I would point more of the blame at him on that goal. Again, even if he come out and he still scores Kudos, at least he makes it a bit harder. But he literally did nothing. He literally just stood and, like you said, put his hands behind his back to avoid a penalty, but didn't actually try and close any angle down. So for me, more of the blame is actually on him than Zinchenko on that one because. I think Zinchenko had done the right thing in terms of following the inside run. Because the danger is always on the outside. We should always be able to get back out there afterwards. But no one did anything once he brought the ball down. So again, no fault on Ramsdale at all either.
Yeah, we'll move on to the third goal by Bowen. I didn't see anything wrong with any of our defending there. It was an unlucky deflection that beat Ramsdale. But Gumsa, feel any different about that goal?
I think the initial build-up again, Tomiyasu gets beat way too easy by Kudos, and that starts the attack, if I'm nitpicking. But after that, once it's come back out and Bowen's hit it clean, again, the deflection, Ramsdale can't do anything. He gets a hand to it. Do you know what I mean? It's 50-50. You can't expect him to save it. Like, he's done well to get his hand to it and react. And that was my frustration from yesterday's game. We just didn't shoot. And again, in wet surface like that, just take a shot sometimes. The amount of times we came inside and didn't shoot, it just frustrates me sometimes, man.
It does. Tony, what about you? Goal?
I agree. I was going to say the same thing, is that deflection, there wasn't really much for me Ramsdale could do. He tried to get a hand to it. He done well to get a hand to it, but obviously it wasn't good enough. So again, I agree with Gumsa.
Luke, same?
Yeah, I think that's why, as Gumsa was saying, that's why you just take a shot sometimes. Anything can happen. And we don't do that enough. I think that's a lesson we can learn from that goal.
Well, we'll get into the stats in a bit as well. It's not good reading, if I'm honest. Odegaard goal. Good finish. Good pass by Fabio as well. It's the only time he actually did something for me. And I love Fabio, but he wasn't great last night. Most of the players weren't great. But were you happy with the goal at least, Luke, or did you not really care by that time?
Yeah, to be honest, I actually got out to make a cup of tea and missed it. I saw the goal back, obviously, but yeah, I wasn't bothered. It doesn't matter.
I won't either. Good finish, though. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Tony, what about you?
Yeah, damage limitations, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was a well taken goal, and it's good for Odegaard as well. And to be honest with you, I think when he came on, he looked good. He looked really good. He was, even being at 3 down at the death, and he's still trying to, make something happen. He did it. I think he only missed one pass when he came on. So I was happy with him, but yeah, too late. Just too late.
It is too late. Gumsa, what about you with the Odegaard goal?
I think the only positive from it, well, obviously 3-1 looks better than 3-0. Couldn't have Fabianski and Mavropanos keep a clean sheet against us. So that was one of the most important things. But also for Odegaard's confidence, because we have been calling him out a bit over the last few weeks. So he hasn't been in his best form. So hopefully that, obviously he didn't play on the weekend. He only got about 20 minutes and scored one. So hopefully going into Saturday's game, that will help his confidence. And we'll see a kind of the Odegaard we've seen previously. So yeah, I think out of everyone, I'm glad it was him who got that goal, he is an important player for us.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will help him kind of rediscover some form.
True, very true. Right, let's get into the comments before we get to the stats. We've been shown how far we are behind City, Liverpool, and even Newcastle. It's a wake-up call. With Newcastle, I get what you're coming from because obviously they've got some injuries, but they are still performing even with Longstaff in, Willock, Murphy, and all that kind of players. They still manage to perform, and that is where we've got to question ourselves a little bit sometimes. Because Jacob Murphy, no offence to him, he's not a Premier League player. He's very lucky to be there, if I'm honest. Arteta has spent another 300 million, and I can't see why we've moved on at Nelson and Nketiah and Trossard aren't good enough. Gabriel needs to stop. Told stop opening his legs like a cool girl. Gabriel is weak without Saliba. I do believe that is a very good partnership, and they obviously know each other's very well. They know each other's game. They complement each other's game. And I remember Canna saying the other night on the preview about we wouldn't be putting 2 left footers together. We did last night, and it really didn't work. Let's be honest. It just doesn't work. Kivior, I'm not having any goes at him. He had a very good game. Did everything he possibly could. But it's quite obvious without Saliba, Gabriel doesn't look as good. They don't complement each other's game, Kivior and Gabriel at all. That's obviously they don't play enough with each other, maybe, but yeah. Sorry, Bobby's second goal, Zinni and Gabriel opened my legs fault. I love it. Right, let's move on to the stats. It's not pretty reading because if you hadn't actually looked at watched the game and you didn't know the score, like if you put your hand over the score, you think, oh, we won that comfortably. No, we didn't. Possession, 28%, 72 for Arsenal, 5 shots for West Ham, 14 for Arsenal, 3 shots on target for each team, 4 corners for West Ham, 6 for Arsenal. Passing accuracy, I've always said you need 85 plus to have a decent game. West Ham were only 76. Their passing game wasn't great either. Ours was 90. XG 1.13 for West Ham, 0.23 for Arsenal. And I have to say something before I ask you guys regarding the stats. I don't know who was listening to what and what commentary, but I felt that Alan Smith last night was delving into the Havertz agenda because he didn't think he'd done much in the first half. Now, I remember that Havertz had a good chance that was saved by Fabianski. That seemed to have gone totally out of his head because I think it wasn't until the Nketiah chance where he says, oh, that's been their best chance. I'm like, Havertz had a very good chance that was ticked over by Fabianski.
Yeah.
It feels like he's getting into the agenda because he knows that that's the popular opinion at the moment. I don't think it is. I'll be honest. I don't do the player ratings. You all know this. But first half, Havertz got a 7 for me. Second half, it dipped to a 6 because he didn't do so much. But first half, I thought he was good. His passing was good. He was always trying. He fought off 2 players. He was strong. He won free kicks when he needed to. I remember there was he ran out to the left. And to me, that was West Ham's ball. And all of a sudden, Havertz managed to win an Arsenal free kick out of nothing. He's at least trying. And I'm never going to slate him because it's not his fault. It's always the person that signs you. He's trying, and that's my opinion. But looking at these stats, Gumsa, are you surprised by the amount of possession we had, the amount of shots, and how poor we were.
I've got to credit West Ham because even from the first half, we was in total control. Their setup was good. They really nullified the middle. Like when they pressed us, you could see like it was like a train in the middle. There was no space in there. And I'm not sure which group I put it in, but I put it in at half time. I'd go Havertz up top and put Eddie out on the left for a bit, just because you saw their tactic. They were blocking up the middle, and then we have to eventually go long. And that's playing into their hands because Eddie had no joy against their centre back. So I would have put Havertz up top second half, just so if we do kick it long, he can potentially hold something up, and then we can build off that. I think we played into West Ham's hands, and once they went 1-0 up, there was no breaking them down. And it kind of leads into, again, someone said about Nketiah, and everyone knows I like Nketiah. However, I do want that other striker, because when you play teams like that who are blocking out the middle, you may just need to get wide and throw a few crosses in, and a different striker may give us that option, because I think we're reluctant to cross because we look at our strikers and they're not the biggest, and everyone's on the edge of the box playing one-touch football and everything's tick-a-tackery. And I think sometimes that old-fashioned get down the wing, throw a cross in and get bodies in the box may help us. And yeah, that's I think West Ham, for all our possession, West Ham were very comfortable. We didn't do, and I think this, sorry to keep going on, I think it's what we're seeing is when we got our main 11, our style works really well. And going back to the Newcastle comment earlier about Newcastle can rotate players and it doesn't really hamper them. It looks like this system we have, you have to be spot on to play it. And as soon as one of those key cogs come out, we struggle. So again, even look at Saka. He may not have a good game, but he's constantly doubled up, which then means there's space somewhere else for someone else to play. And
right, you saying that regarding Newcastle, if one of our players has to be pulled out, our system doesn't work. That then goes back to Arteta, because Eddie Howe will obviously train every single player in that system, no matter if you're starter or second. Now, is Arteta not doing that off the field, do you feel?
I think, well, if you look at the movements, the movements are the same. It's the quality of the player on the ball. So, for instance, that ball goes out to the right to Reece Nelson, and the same ball goes to Saka. Who's more likely to get some joy? Saka than Nelson. And everyone's movement could be exactly the same, but Saka will do just a little bit more than Nelson potentially in that area. And what you find is teams double up on Saka now, which then means that ball into Odegaard, there's space somewhere else for somebody else. And I just don't think the threat's the same. Same as Martinelli on the other side. Trossard off the bench does really well for us, but when he starts, I don't think everyone has that same fear of him. Whereas Martinelli's constantly just going to keep banging on the door with his pace down that left side. And it is becoming a bit stale when these other players are in. I think we saw it all last season. If it's not that main 11, then it's just not working. And it's not, do you know what I mean? They're all doing the same thing. So even with Jorginho and Rice, they're playing the same role, play it very similar, but it's just not the same if Rice or Partey is not there. Do you know what I mean? It's just that little bit of individual brilliance them players bring in our first 11. I think that's the big issue. I don't think it's the way we're playing. I think it's just them individual players we've got in them positions just give you a little bit more.
Fair enough. Tony, what about you looking at the stats, comparing it to the actual game that we watched?
Well, when I was watching, I felt that we were missing a spine. You know, I found we were more stuck on the wings, and West Ham done a good job of keeping us pinned to the wings. If you look at some of the heat maps as well, some of our players, they were all pinned to the wings. You know, you're missing the spine. We got Saliba, who can bring the ball forward in the middle. Your Declan Rice, who didn't start, who can keep the ball in the middle, bring the ball forward. We were just constantly on the sides, and we just couldn't get inside at all. And some of the players that were in midfield, you know, they just couldn't seem to get the ball into the middle. And you know, he can't cross the ball to Nketiah. He's not one for, you know, he's not the target man in the middle, is he? So I just felt West Ham did a very good job of keeping us pinned to the wings, and we were just passing the ball backwards and forwards down there, and that's why our passing actually was as high as it was in our possession count. So, and they obviously had a game plan to catch us on the counter. Most teams do that anyway. We know that. I just felt that we were pinned and we just had no spine whatsoever.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Luke?
Yeah, it's as Gumsa was talking about the perhaps lack of quality when we play these other type of players. Then that's kind of echoes my kind of thoughts on how we're setting up anyway. It seems a system of play that is difficult to perfect. It's a system almost like it's built on a house of cards. You take one player out and it all goes to pot. And that's why I've never on this manager in terms of how he prepares the team. That's why I've always had my doubts as to whether we can be successful. Because as we saw last season, we didn't really have that many injuries. It was only, we was unlucky that Tomiyasu and Saliba both got injured on the same day, and then we had to put Rob Holding, and then we couldn't play the way, and then he was forcing Rob Holding to play a system of play that he couldn't do. Yeah. And then yesterday you're playing a midfield of Jorginho, Havertz, and Fabio. Well, I don't think any of us really thought that was going to work, especially against West Ham's basically first team. Apart from they didn't have Paul Prowse starting, that was basically their first team.
Yeah, I was looking at everyone's team that they went with the preview. Pretty much, obviously, ESR, we weren't to know that he was injured in the last training session. But a lot of people went for a little bit more muscle, a bit more oomph. Havertz, Jorginho, Fabio, no offence to any of them, they're not exactly the strongest type of midfielders that you want.
I said that in the chat before the game. That was my concern, was the midfield.
I've always said, and it's been proven year and decades, no matter what kind of football has been played, if you lose the midfield battle, you're more likely to lose the game. It's as simple as that. I don't think you can win when you lose the midfield battle. I think it's very impossible.
It'd be very good. Unless you're doing a smash and grab and you get lucky.
Yeah. There's definitely those. But I don't want us being like that. I don't want us to be smash and grab and be lucky. Right, let's have a look, see what I'm saying here. Havertz was our best player in the first half. He was. If anyone wants to start, I'll say on the Havertz as well. Nelson impressed me the first half, to be honest. He was at least trying. And this is what I was saying when Nelson, for me, Nelson was actually better than Saka overall. His actual performance overall for the minutes that they played, I thought Nelson was trying harder. We'll get on to Saka because I wasn't impressed with our subs, and that goes with Martinelli as well. To be fair, until the first goal, I looked like scoring before West Ham. This is Tony. I know why we gave Nelson and Nketiah new contracts, but we wasted money. We could have signed one player for their wages and done better. Is Tony's view. I felt sorry for the defence because the front. Were rubbish. Luke, I'm starting to believe you're right about Pep too. Partey, Nketiah, and Nelson sell them in January. Look, there will be movement in January. There will be movement in, movement out. So we'll wait and see exactly what we decide to do, but there will be movement. Right, let's go on to the starting lineup. Now, obviously, I've got all your teams here. No one went for this lineup at all. Luke, you saw the lineup. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't. Yeah, the defense was. I pretty much picked that same defense apart from Zinchenko, so I didn't have a big issue with that. But I thought the midfield and the forward combination just wasn't going to work at all, and unfortunately, that's what happened. So wasn't. It didn't fill me with confidence, that lineup.
No, what about you, Tone? I know you said about the midfield, but
like I said, the midfield was my main concern. I was happy with the front three. I was fine with the back four. It was literally just the midfield for me, and I just when I saw their starting lineup, I did fear for the worst. I really did.
What about you, Gumsa?
I think mine was pretty similar to that. I think I had Tomiyasu playing. I can't remember who instead of.
Yeah, you had Tommy at right back, El Neni, DM, ESR, Fabio, and Havertz up front.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. I think end of the day, this is our squad. So some of these players are probably knocking the manager's door to say, why haven't I? Say, for instance, Fabio Vieira had a good couple of cameos earlier in the season, so he deserves a start. And again, after this game, what the manager's done is said, after your performance, you can't knock my door again and ask for a start. Like, if I choose to play you, I choose to play you. Because none of those guys there done anything to warrant being in that first 11. And I think sometimes you have to give these guys the rope. I'm glad it was in the Carabao Cup rather than any other competition. But it kind of cements what a few of us have been saying about some of them. Again, Trossard, again, I said it on Sunday, I think he's becoming a super sub.
Yeah.
Off the bench, he looks frightening. When he starts, he doesn't do as much. Nelson, I agree with you. I think he done well. And I'm kind of glad ESR didn't play because I think he done well on Sunday. And actually, yeah, I'm kind of glad he didn't play. And hopefully we see him midweek because I haven't been blown away with Havertz or Vieira, in all honesty. So I would like to give Smith Rowe a chance with Odegaard and Declan Rice and see how that performs. So, yeah, I think no one... Yeah, I said I'm not mad at the starting 11 at all. I think this is our squad. It's not like he played the kids. I actually would have rather seen the kids. Again, I grew up in the Wenger era where this was where you started to see some of these players make their names. So for me, it's use it. But yeah, some of these players have kind of let themselves down, I think, in this game. Really have.
I know you said about Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe will be out for a couple of weeks.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a muscle problem. So yeah, he'll be out for a couple of weeks. So we won't be seeing ESR, unfortunately. Hopefully, after the international breaks, we've got another one coming up, which Luke will be so excited for. He can't wait. You can see the excitement on his face now. Look at him. He's so excited. He loves the international break.
I can see Smith Rowe going.
Yeah, I can in January. Yeah, he's one to keep an eye on to leave. To be honest, I just don't think he fits our system.
By the way, I mean, like, I love him, but again, it's just if you're going to say the same thing about Partey, you got to say the same thing about Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I can see us selling Kivior within the next 2 windows as well.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to work out. It's not that he's a bad player. I just don't think it's going to work out. We are looking at someone else, they're calling it the Raya situation with a left centre back with Gay. So I can see Kivior being sold. If I'm honest, we'll make a decent profit on him as well, which will be nice. But I'll be sad to see him go because I think he's a good player, but he just doesn't fit our system, and that's how it works sometimes. Sometimes you just don't fit systems. You have to go. Right, let's get on to player ratings. Luke, I'm going to start with you. So you're going to get Ramsdale first, please, mate.
Yeah, I'll just give him a 5. I don't think any of the starters deserve any higher than that, but I'll just give just box standard 5.
Okay.
One thing I will say about Ramsdale, can I just say, I was very calm every time he had the ball. Just saying.
I wasn't.
I was calm.
There was a couple of times where I think Bowen nearly nicked it off his toes, like really close.
Wasn't concerned.
I weren't you? I was a little bit concerned, if I'm honest, but I'm more concerned with Raya. But maybe it's just the way I don't like playing like that. I'm a right back. It's like, give me the damn ball, I'll get rid of the damn thing. Christ. White. We'll move to Ben White with you, Tony.
He had a poor game. Let's be fair. I mean, not just because of the own goal, but he went at the races at all. I'm going to have to give him a 4.
Okay.
And I love Benny Blanco.
Gumsa, you get Kivior.
Yeah, I think this probably been one of my highest ratings. I'll give him a 6. I don't think he was at fault for anything. No. Deflection, he can't do much about it. And actually, individual battles, he seemed to hold his own better than the rest of them. So yeah, he gets a 6.
Okay, that gives you Gabriel, Luke.
Yeah, I thought that second goal was poor, and I'd have to give him a 4.
Okay. Zinni for you, Tony.
I know I pinned some blame for him for the Kudus goal, but I think out of the fullbacks, he was probably the better, so he has to get 5.
Okay, 5 for Zinni. That gives you Jorginho, Gumsa.
Well, yeah. When he came in, I wasn't too mad at it. I saw it for what it was, but this season he hasn't done well at all. The games he's played, in all honesty, I think apart from the City game, he's struggled. So yeah, he'll get 4 as well.
Okay. So that gives Luke. Let's try and work this out. Try and be nice here. I'm going to give Luke Fabio.
Yeah, I think he's part of the midfield that did nothing. Yeah, he got the assist at the end, but I'll have to give him a 3.
Yeah. No, to be fair, I didn't think he until that last assist with the Odegaard. I don't think he did anything. I'll be honest. I'll be honest, and I love him, but he was awful yesterday. So that gives you Havertz, Tony.
I actually thought he was one of our better players. If I'm honest, he looked very lively, especially in that first half. I think he had the best chance of the game. That glaring header, I thought it was an excellent header. And I think he's starting to come good. I think we're starting to see, the Havertz that we wanted to sign. It's going to be slow, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But I like what I saw from yesterday. I'll give him a 6.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. That gives you Nelson Gumsa.
Yeah, I think he started off really lively. I remember him getting in behind once, dropped the shoulder on a player, good cut across, and he just cleared it. He started off really well. But I think as time went on, and again, the people do say that first goal is so important. Them scoring at first, they just blocked everything off, and he then couldn't get into the game at all. So I'll give him a 5. No real fault of his own, but I just think he couldn't get anything going. But yeah, I think it's like everyone up front didn't really get much, did they, to work with after the first 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. Does anyone feel that's a bit harsh on Nelson at 5?
No,
for me, it doesn't sit right. No, you're happy with 5s? Okay.
Yeah.
I just felt like that was a little bit harsh, but okay, sure, go. Your scores. Trossard 6 for Luke. Trossard, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, the forwards, it's difficult for them if the midfield doesn't get going. So I'll give him, but I think, as Gumsa was talking about Nelson, I think at least Nelson looked, maybe he looked busy. He looked like he was trying at least. And I didn't see much from Trossard, so I'd have to give him a 4.
No, that's fair enough. Tony, that gives you Nketiah.
You know I love Eddie, and I believe that Eddie's a better striker than Jesus. But yeah, he went at the races yesterday. We have to give him a 4.
Okay. Cool. Let's get on to the subs. So Rice came on for Jorginho in the 57th minute. Gumsa, you get Declan Rice.
Yeah, straight away. He misplaced a good few passes, but you saw the intent was different. And I don't mind players. So this is why I don't get mad at Zinchenko when he misplaces passes, because sometimes they try the riskier pass or try and taking the ball when they got danger around them. So they are more prone to lose it. However, if they get it right, can beat the press or offset the other team. So yeah, he gave away a few passes, but he's tried to speed up our game. So actually, you saw the impact he made. I'd give him I'll give him a 7 just because you saw the difference when he came on. Our tempo and everything raised another level. So yeah.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the next sub. So it's Tomiyasu for Zinchenko. Luke.
I don't think he was as good today, coming off the bench or starting. I'd have to give him a 4.
Okay, fair enough. 4 for Tommy. Let's move on to the next sub. Saka for Nelson, Tony.
Yeah, it's a funny one. It's funny how you give me Saka. He just couldn't get into it, could he? Let's just be real with it. I still felt the challenge, even though 66 minutes is probably early for that. I still think it was late. But I'm going to just give him a 5. He tried, but yeah.
Okay. 5 for Saka. Martinelli came on for Trossard, if you noticed it. So Gumsa, Martinelli.
I think if Saka gets a 5, Martinelli gets a 4. I think at least what I watched with Saka, every time he got the ball, Paqueta was over there in a second. And between him and whoever the left back was just making him. They're saying you've got to pass it. There's no way you're coming through it. So again, that does create space. So I'm not mad at Saka because can we get the ball, let you get doubled up, move the ball again, then someone else got to do something. We can't keep relying on him to do it against 2 players. But Martinelli again, his game is space behind, isn't it? He wants to attack space, and West Ham didn't leave any there for us. So, yeah, I just didn't even really see him on the pitch, in all honesty. So, yeah, 4.
I agree. Final sub, Luke, you get Odegaard.
Yeah, I think like Declan Rice, I think he came on and was trying to affect the game, even though we were already 3-0 down by that point. So he got the goal. I'll give him a 6.
Okay, fair enough. Right, before we get on to Mikel, because he has got to get a rating, we're going to go into some comments. What worries me is if we get injuries, this lot come in. Yeah. The Silva One, I agree with you about Ramsdale. Big up to Chris. Hope you're doing well. Another cup, Arsenal throwing away. Bet you're disappointed. Yes, we are. Also, don't want to hear bigger fish to fry. I've not said that. I'm not going to say that.
No,
we have spent enough money to be prepared to do all competitions for me. That's just my opinion. I think we should be ready.
The thing is, right now it's going to be 31 years since we've won this trophy.
Yeah. I was 13 years old. I was there. So, yeah. It means
my
something
earliest
to me.
football memory.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, same here.
Well, in terms of Arsenal, earliest football memory for Arsenal was winning the Coca-Cola Cup as it was back then.
Both the finals against Sheffield Wednesday. That's my first memory.
Yeah. Bobby a 9 for the watch along of the face.
No, definitely. I'll give you a 10, Bobby. I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I did say it. I think 91st minute. I said I feel like I want to do the fans and just walk out the stadium. I just want to stop doing the stream. I was in pain. It was.
I probably would have stopped myself. So hats off to you, Bobby.
Yeah. To be honest, I've got 3 Arsenal streams this week. It was obviously West Ham last night, Newcastle Saturday night. I'm not confident in the Newcastle game at the moment, and I've got Arsenal versus Man City on Sunday. And that's going to be a tricky game for our women, I'll be honest. And it could be 3 defeats in the week. I'm not going to be happy, Bonnie, next week, I tell you.
Well, I think we'll beat Newcastle, if I'm honest. I think because you see what's happened midweek. You just know we're going to go up there and perform. You just know it's going to happen. Last night.
That's the bit that annoys me about Arsenal, is the fact that we have such a bad performance. I was like, why can't we perform like that every single game? And I know that a lot of people say, oh, we need to rest these players. People play in League 2, League 1. They play 60-plus games. We don't play anything like that in the Premier League. And I feel sorry for these League 1, League 2 players. They're playing like nearly 60 to 70 games. Gumsa can say about the Reading. It's intense gaming. It's like Saturday, Tuesday for weeks sometimes with League 1, especially when all the games postponed as well. I feel no sorry for the squad players saying, "Oh, I need a rest." Do you? Well, give some of your money back then.
I think it's some of the places you've got to go to as well. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. That wasn't Odegaard. He's injured. It was AI. Yes, he has got a hip issue. It is actually an issue. Whether or not he's just having loads of painkillers at the moment, I don't know. But there is definitely a hip issue. It's something to do. I don't know if you've noticed about Odegaard, but the way he moves, he does move slightly in a weird manner, and it's the way he keeps moving is actually hurt his hip. So you keep watching him, and honestly, he's got a strange little sway when he moves. It's interesting, but that's how he's actually picked up the injury. We've no chance against Newcastle, I'm guessing, Tony. At the moment, from seeing Newcastle play last night and the way that we played, yes, no chance.
We're going to beat him.
It will annoy, knowing us, yes, we will, and it will be a fantastic performance. And then we go on to Seville, and then we lose to them. That's how it will be.
And it'll be the Odegaard show as well. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, right. I think a lot of people are going to have different opinions on this one. Right, I'm going to start with you, Gumsa. Rating for Mikel.
I'm going to give him an 8. Yep. I don't think I'm not putting any blame on him for this game.
I've got no words.
I'm not giving any blame for him this game. We've all had our opinions on our season so far. He's given players a chance and they've let him down massively. If I know Arteta, he's ruthless. And I think this could be the moment he says, "You're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. I'm looking out for better." So I'm not mad at him. Like, in the day, if you look at all our team sheets this week, none of us put in our first 11. We all rotated it. So end of the day, it is what it is. We all wanted rotation. We all wanted to rest some players. He's done that. He can't be fully blamed if the players haven't performed. We've had 80% possession. Do you know what I mean? It's the players on the pitch now have to do something. Like he said, it wasn't, if we went to that game and West Ham absolutely dominated us, bullied us off the park, had all possession, we couldn't get a kick in the game, I would say something's wrong with the system. But you had 80-something%. Someone's got to do something. And apart from Reece Nelson and Havertz, no one tried to do anything. So I'm not putting this at him at all. We all wanted to see rotation. And hopefully this will be the game. And I can pinpoint some other games in previous times where you saw it was that moment that player didn't play again for us, or that player got taken out of the squad. And do you know what I mean? And I'm thinking this could be the game where he thinks, actually, I can't depend on some of you lot, so I need to go and get better. And yeah, hopefully he does the right thing, because this squad at the moment is not good enough to go and compete, really and honestly.
Okay, fair enough. Before I ask Tony, Tony Fulbrook, Gums, I'm 66. Don't give me a heart attack with that score.
Yes, as I said, sometimes you got to give the players the string. You got to give them the rope.
What I would say, and I'm not going to change Gums' mind because it's his opinion. I've always believed that everyone's entitled to their opinion. However, what I would say is this is now Mikel's squad. He has 100%. Chosen pretty much 100%. All of the players that are now at this squad. So if he's not happy with them and he wants to ship them out, he is also the one that brought them in. That's my theory.
But you can only that will go towards end of season rating. If at the end of the season we still got these players, we end up third place, I could turn around and say, I'll take you getting a 5 because you trusted these players at the start of the year. You got rid of some, you isolated this one, whatever it is. But in terms of a game, we've all, do you know what I mean? Some of them players that have come in to play in this game, we've all called for Trossard on numerous times to come and start a game. Reece Nelson, some of us feel sometimes it's hard done, but he doesn't get enough minutes. Fabio Vieira said had a good start to the season, then we haven't seen him for a few weeks, so it was a time for him to say, actually, I'm still here. Obviously, Havertz is getting into the swing. Jorginho is a seasoned pro. Do you know what I mean? It's that whole the right back, left back debate at the moment. Even Tomiyasu come on and didn't make me feel like actually you should start against Newcastle. I would start you. Just because defensively you're better, but you didn't do anything when you came on. So sometimes the players have to take some of the accountability. Again, it wasn't a system fault why we got beat. We had possession, we had chances, we had half chances. Do you know what I mean? West Ham didn't really do anything apart from just counter on us. And players on the pitch have to learn to deal with some of those things. And when we have got possession, someone has to step up and do a little bit more. And we saw that Odegaard really come on. He tried to get the ball in certain areas and make things happen, and we scored a goal. So yeah, players on the pitch have to do more. And this just, I think what this game showed me is, we are where we are and we need improvement still. So I expect him to now go and act upon this. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to have some real criticisms for Arteta, because this game's showing where we're weak and where we're lacking.
Yeah, fair enough. Tony, what about your rating for Mikel?
Well, listen, I knew Gums was going to be generous, but I didn't think he'd be that generous. But end of the day, in the previews, Bobby, you asked for our teams. He didn't pick mine. So, look, I was concerned with the midfield. I just didn't think it was well balanced at all for me. So I was downgrading for that. For me, and obviously, you gave me the Saka rating, and I mentioned there that I thought, although 66 minutes is quite early for Arteta, it was quite late for me. Him and Martinelli coming on. When you bring in your two best wingers on at 2-0 down, you're asking for a lot, because you know West Ham are going to sit back after that point. So it's going to be a lot harder for them to get into the game. So he's got to put some blame for that. I think we got 1-0 down. That's when you bring them on. Didn't do that. The first subs he made were defensive ones. Very strange to me. Very, very strange. So he gets downgraded for that. And he just didn't seem that bothered as well. And it filtered through to the players for me. So he's getting downgraded for that. So,
okay.
I agree with Gums. The one point that Gums did say, though, is we all did pick a rotated squad. And that's what he done. And that's what we expected. So that's why I'm generous with a 4.
Yeah. I agree, because I think that the substitution should have come on at halftime. Martinelli and Saka should have come on straight at halftime. I was expecting it. I had my little video animation because I've now got a sub animation now. I was expecting it, and the first substitutions to be Tomiyasu and Declan Rice. And to be honest, because the screen had gone to Tomiyasu, I was about to swear because I thought it was just Tomiyasu coming. I was like, "What the hell is this?" Thankfully, Rice was there, and I was like, "Oh, well, at least that's something, I suppose." But yeah, it was where we've been very positive about his substitution in previous games. This one, he wasn't great substitutions wise.
To be fair, if I was him, once it went 2-0, I wouldn't even brought on Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard. I would have let them. You lot out there, you go and suffer and deal with that rain, and you lot, you have a one to starting on Saturday. You stay dry and warm because, you could see there was no way back into that game for us. 1-0, I agree with Tony. Substitutes come on then, and even imagine your West Ham coming out and all of a sudden you see Rice, Saka, and Martinelli. Yeah, straight away that puts you like sugar, and it might just make you take a step backwards. Yeah. Whereas they come out second half and just came at us, and they had a good chance straight away. Ramsdale saved, and then they got the corner and carried on from there. Do you know what I mean? So I think the intention at halftime, could have been a bit more aggressive. I do agree with that one.
Yeah, Luke, your score for Mikel.
Yeah, I mean, Gumsa talked about we all picked teams with rotation. But I think there was too much rotation last night. I think I only really had El Neni that came in. I would have made. I think my team had 4 changes, but there was 8 changes last night, and so I think that it's difficult to win a game when you make that many changes away from home against a team that's playing pretty much their first team. And I think that was a big mistake. I do agree with the boys in terms of what is the point of putting them on once the game's lost, essentially, at 2-0. We weren't coming back into that game then. So I'd have to give him a 3 for everything that happened yesterday.
No, look. I never say you're wrong. I always put your scores down. I just wanted to question Gumsa's 8 a little bit.
I don't mind that at all. It sounds mad. It does sound mad, but it is an element of, as I said, giving players the rope and seeing what they do with it. Saka broke into the team in this competition and hasn't looked back ever since. Do you know what I mean? And you're looking for these other players to do something similar. You get an opportunity, you have to take it with both hands. And how many times have we said some of these boys aren't taking? Again, Trossard's the main one for me. We all feel sorry for him when he's not playing sometimes because you can see there's a player and then he gets a start and it's like, done nothing with it again. Do you know what I mean? So how many more times can you keep doing it? So yeah, I don't mind anyone arguing with me at all about that at all. And it is a mad score when you see it like that, but I think it just put things in perspective when fans, do you know what I mean? We all do it. We all have our favourites. We all want to see some players playing, but I think this is the game where it's like, okay, I'll give you, go and play, show us what you can do and prove some people wrong or prove Arteta wrong while Trossard's not playing, for instance.
Yeah.
No one can. Hasn't he already done that several times though? Like we've tried Fabio. Okay, he's looked good coming on. Havertz has looked good coming on, playing at centre forward. He hasn't looked good at all in midfield. I mean, we all could have told him that midfield wasn't going to work. Sure, I know that. I mean, and as Bobby said, these are his players. In terms of them, if he's trying to say to them, "Well, you're knocking on my door asking for minutes, and you've come and produced that load of rubbish," what's the point of you knocking on my door again? Well, I could have told him back in May that Kai had worth 65 million and Fabio 35 million, 100 million on those two.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Again, we can't, and it is one of those elements that I think there's been a few suspect signings. There've been some brilliant signings from Arteta. And it's frustrating. It is frustrating. However, what I didn't want to see is what we saw last year. That game against Sporting probably cost us the league title because we lost Tomiyasu and Saliba in a game which we still lost. And for me, Saliba should not have been nowhere near that game. And that probably hampered our season. And that's why I said Martinelli and Saka wouldn't have touched the pitch because 2-0 down, you bring these to one. If one of them goes off injured now we're effed for a game which we're probably losing. in the competition that really, if anyone was to really say where they rank that competition out of the 4 we're in, that is the 4th. So if you're going to go for it, go for it. If you're not, then get those big guys out of the way and play the kids. Do you know what I mean? It's that middle ground we're playing, and I think that's the frustration. As Bobby said, if we had put some of the young players in there and we got beat 5, we wouldn't give 2 damns. But we knew Saliba was at home resting, Saka was at home with his feet up in the warmth. We wouldn't have cared. But it's like you're bringing these guys to this game, you're putting them in danger anyway by playing them still, and we still get beat. It's like it's that in between, which is the frustration. You're better off just throwing all the kids out there, and we will then know what it is for that competition. So I do understand why you're a lot frustrated. Everyone's taking their Wednesday out. People have travelled to the game to see people not really do anything. It is frustrating. But I'm just touch wood. I'm just hoping everyone come out of that game unscathed, and we're back to our best on Saturday.
Yeah.
I tell you who I'm disappointed for. I'm Charles Seco Jr. What did he do wrong? Wasn't even on the bench.
Yeah,
and
I hated our bench. I'll be honest, I hated our bench. Not a single youth player on that bench at all. I suppose you can say Hein, but
yeah, he done well against Brentford, and I think he deserves to keep his place in the squad for the cup. But even on the bench, but it confused because I look at West Ham the same as Brentford, two really good sides. But he gave a chance against Brentford away from home as well. So it just confused me, to be honest.
Yeah,
it did.
And as I said, how many players have made their name in this competition? So we can see Trossard and Nelson, Vieira, they're okay, but they're not doing enough when they're starting. How do you know you don't play one of these youngsters? And also you think, actually, he can hold his own in this level. And then he plays again. And this is how Saka became Saka. Do you know what I mean? It was, Emery played him and he was like, actually, I've got no reason to take this boy out of the team at the moment. Pepe's now resting. And all of a sudden, Saka's now, he's won our player of the season 3 years in a row, I believe. Do you know what I mean? You have to give these boys an opportunity because now when it comes to the league, if we got an injury, you're not going to try one of these youngsters ahead of Vieira or Trossard. You're going to play them again. And yeah, it's sometimes we need to give people opportunities to show what they could do at this level.
100%. Tony Fulbrook's ratings. Here we go. Ramsdale 5, White 5, Zinni 3, Gabriel 5, Jorginho 5, Fabio 3, Havertz 5, Nketiah 3, Nelson 3, Trossard 2, Kivior 6, subs all of them 4, and Arteta 2. Love you, Tony. Right, let's go into some of your comments as well. As a Liverpool fan, I expect us to win League Cup. Now expected us to win it after City got knocked out. No excuses from us. Otherwise, it's failure. I have standards. I understand that as well, Chris. Gumsa, accept Havertz. Those players you mentioned are impact sprayers, I'm guessing players, not starters. Don't bring players on when a match is lost. He thought he would have got another Chelsea result. Don't understand a Tommy coming on and not starting. He won't start at Newcastle, in his opinion. Let's be honest, Arteta doesn't rate that cup. I don't think he does. Bobby, I love these rating shows. I get my frustration out. Now I breathe easy. Gumsa nearly took that away with his 8 for Arteta. George Graham had less players and football was hard to play. He only managed it because it mattered to the fans and club. For me, every single competition matters, no matter what you're in. Like I said it on the previous stream. I wish we could get into the Audi Cup just so we can win it. And then Tottenham fans can shut up about the Audi Cup because they seem to celebrate it like it's a proper cup. So let's enter that ourselves. Let's win it. And then we can say we've won it too. So there we go. Appreciate everyone coming on as always. I need to find a way to put your names back on. There we go. Gumsa, we'll start with you. Where can people find you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Gumsa at TATV, I believe. And yeah, I'm here for some of the reactions. I'm not around this weekend, but I'll be missing the stream. So I'm going to be here as much as possible again. Work's quieting down a bit for me, so you're going to see more of me.
There we go. Tony, where can they find you?
You won't find me in the same place as Bernie, that's for sure. But you will find me. It's at the Silva 185. If you like NFL, catch me on X and TikTok as well at the Brit Bowl, at the big Brit Bowl. I don't even know my own name. But yeah, otherwise here, if it's a daytime stream in particular.
There you go. Luke, where can I find you?
Yeah, you can often find me in the Armoury TV chats with Tony Fulbrook and the Silva One. Twitter is at ATP Sports Talk and Fred's is at AFC Luke 84.
Thank you very much. Guys, you'll see me again tomorrow because I've got the preview for the Newcastle game. You'll catch me on the watch along on Saturday night as well. I'll be doing the live match reaction straight after the game. So, jeez, why am I doing this? And then on Sunday, 12:30, Arsenal versus Man City. That is a cracker of a game. So please do tune into that. If you can find a stream to watch, I don't know what it's on. Is it on Sky Sports this Sunday, Luke? Do you know what the Arsenal Man City game's on?
Yeah,
it's on Sky. That is going to be one heck of a game.
I think it's a Sky. I think people see the
Yeah, but guys, tune into it because honestly, this is going to be a cracker of a game. I'm looking forward to that one. Guys, appreciate it. I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.